Good morning, all of you. So my name is Vinay Modi and I represent MBAROI.in. It's a privilege for me to be a part of this amazing experience, the journey called CAT, the biggest management entrance exam in the country. And I'm very sure that this is by far one of the most expansive exams in the world. And why not? You know, it's called as mother of all management exams in India, since there are more than 200 colleges associated with that, more than 20 odd IIMs and what not. Butterflies in the stomach are absolutely inevitable. Why not? I mean, a lot is at stake. But as they say, when going gets tough, tough gets going. It's time for you people to demonstrate the inner leadership in you and give your best and perform to your potential. Mind my words, perform to your potential. So the biggest understanding that I have in so many years, I've been in this industry for last 18, 19 years, and I've seen so many students writing CAT every year. And eventually, I've seen talented, focused, temperamentally strong people making it to the top and reaching up the sky in terms of performance. Now, what is it that differentiates those people from those who don't make it? It's very important for us to understand that, because I've seen a lot of people performing very well when it comes to mock test, when it comes to class performance, but they just buckle up under the pressure when it matters the most. And that's how life is like, Temperamentally strong people, people who've got the innate desire to excel and make it count when it matters the most, as they call as BHAG, big, hairy, audacious goals. If you have, this is the occasion meant for you. So why does it happen that some people don't really reach where they actually should be reaching? Well, it's an aptitude test. A lot of people don't realize this, that this is the crux of what we are looking at. It's an aptitude test. It essentially judges the kind of mold that you are actually built of. It judges few vital ingredients in a person. First of all, how far can you optimize resources in given circumstances? That's one. Second, how smart are you in terms of deciphering as to what is good and what is not? How far do you really prioritize yourself and stick to those? How good are you at execution? Yeah? And how far can you actually go further and show or disclose your talent or display your talent? This is what aptitude is all about. It's not a technical test by any stretch of imagination. Yeah? And you people must have realized by now, test after test, classes after class, and here you are writing the biggest exam. So 48 hours and the exam is going to be there. So what is there that you can do in 48 hours? Well, I'm not here to teach you anything new because I can't at this moment. And you are also not expected to actually learn something very technical in these 48 hours. So what is that I'm going to actually showcase out here? Or what is that I'm going to actually share? Well, I'm going to take you back to memory lane. Yes. I've seen, the child within us, starts, fading away as and when we grow. And that's where we stop learning, or we stop believing that we actually have performed very well in the past. Or there were moments where we actually outshined and outsmarted people when we did not want to go for that. Yes, we naturally performed well when we were not expected to perform, when there was no pressure, yeah, or when we actually enjoyed the process more than the result. Now we are actually looking at result more than the process. Yeah? So I'm just trying to take you back to memory lane. What do you do in these 48 hours? Well, I have divided the entire time schedule in 3 different zones. A zone prior to exam, a zone when the exam is being taken by you, and a zone when the exam gets over. Yeah, as they say, the battle is not done till it is done. So you've got every moment to really cherish and enjoy till possibly, results are declared. The biggest myth is it's only 20 odd IIMs that you're actually struggling for or striving for. Well, that's not true. You're here to actually make this count, because management colleges are a catalyst. And you've got to use this catalyst to take a quantum leap in your life. A lot of people tend to be very myopic when they look at only a few colleges as their orientation or as their dream. Well, yes, you may have a dream that I want to make it to IIM Ahmedabad or Bangalore or let's say FMS Delhi. But don't you think more important for you is to really try and get the best out of 2 years that you'll be spending? So just broaden the horizon, broaden the scope, and you are going to be limitless for sure. Yes, I mean it. Your canvas or the way you look at everything changes. The moment you say, well, I'm going to perform to the best of my potential, and then make it count out of all the options that I'm going to have. You know what? Suddenly the anxiety level goes down because you have more choices to choose from. Why not? Because I have seen, or rather I'll ask you this question. How many individuals are you able to remember who made it to IIMs and make it count in the world? Very few people can be counted on our fingers. That means there are a lot of unsung heroes, right? And there are a lot of people who don't get into top elite colleges and still they make their life count. Choice is yours. You're there to learn and develop certain skills which normal education system doesn't really get to provide. So why don't you think that this is the time for you to really try and get to the next level and then actually showcase your talent? And I'm telling you, you will be at ease in next 48 hours and while the exam is written. Second very important aspect is, it's an aptitude test. It's not a technical test that, you learn 10 new things in 48 hours or in, let's say, last 15 days, and you can actually improve your scores. There is a range or there is an optimum that you've always seen or you've already seen. The crux lies in performing to the potential and reaching to that optimum. Well, that optimum may not be possibly the topper's optimum, the so-called topper's optimum. Yeah? And a lot of people really get stressed out by that. Oh, my scores are not reaching where they should be actually. Because scores should be 70 odd, 80 odd, 100 odd, and I have to get 99 odd percentile. I'm getting 94, 93, but in exam I will get 99 or I should get 99. Otherwise, what's the big deal? Well, you are actually losing a bigger picture. All that you've got to do is remember best 3 performances consistently given by you in mock test. Consistently. When I say consistent, that means back-to-back performances. And that's your average score. And believe you me, don't try and outperform yourself on this day. In your mind, you've got to back yourself that, okay, these 3 performances and the average score is my score. Why most of us don't get to possibly at times perform to the best of our potential. Today morning only I was talking to one of my golf mates. And he said, I have seen my game. I actually play much better than what I normally play. And that's my real potential. And if I don't play up to my potential, that means I'm not really giving my 100% in the game. This is what you've got to tell yourself. The time has come where you've got to give your best and make sure that your best potential that you saw in the past comes nearer, or possibly you come closer to that. And let's broaden the horizon. Why do we actually look at these tests only? Go back to memory lane and remember or visualize. Visualization is the biggest phenomenon in next 48 hours. You sit in isolation and you visualize those moments. You visualize your future. You dream. You look at the picture. You actually try and see and you go beyond writing CAT and you actually visualize that you've got calls, you're getting calls, and you're actually preparing for group discussion, personal interview, you're making it to a good college, you've got your peer group and you're enjoying with those, and then in 2 years you're transforming yourself, and then you actually see yourself transcending all the hurdles and reaching to the pinnacle, and possibly, making it count with the best of the best organizations in the world. Go that far. Now, a lot of people don't get to reach there. You know why? Because they are not very clear as to what they want to do in life. They are going for CAT exam because a lot of people do go for it and they have seen their brethren actually making it count, so they are going for it. And I ask them, why do you want to do it? They have few very, very clear, cliched answers. With all due respect to aspirants, good opportunities, great job potential, making my career count and blah, blah, blah. That's not the reason. Go beyond it. Think about those people who really perform and excel in any chosen endeavor. And they are the people who will say, or who will possibly give a very different narrative to their goals and dreams. You possibly can see or understand or feel hair-splitting phenomenon when they talk about their passion and dream. Do you really share that kind of dream for management as a career? If you do, then you are one of those who's going to actually make it big on this day. Nothing can stop you. Because your dream is not to make it to management college, right? Your dream is to go beyond it. You will reach somewhere. As they say, you aim for the moon, you end up hitting a star for sure. You aim for the best college, you end up reaching somewhere good. But if you feel, or if you say, a lot of people do not really understand the idea called law of attraction. Yeah? The law of attraction clearly suggests that what happens in your mind and what you communicate to people around yourself, you actually end up manifesting that. And that is where I always say, that you've got to really make sure that you're very cautious about how you speak, what you speak, because that's your subconscious coming out. So in the next 48 hours, you've got to really keep backing yourself. You've got to keep saying yourself, I have what it takes for a person to make it count in life. I have performed well in the past. I'm here to really subconscious really works well. I am telling you, as a golfer, when we actually are hitting a ball, and the ball possibly is at a position or wherein we've actually seen that kind of situation earlier also, and we have not really played our shot in the best possible way, and we actually end up goofing up. And before we actually are hitting the shot and taking a practice shot, I end up saying this to my caddy that this is a very difficult position. I cannot hit the ball from here. I have seen that in the past also I don't do well. Believe you me, 9 out of 10 times I'm going to make it worse than what I would do in the past. But the moment I tell my caddy that, look, this time I'm going to actually make it count and I'm going to do better. This shot is actually going near to the hole. And it does. Because it's my self-belief which actually governs my action. So it's very important for you to really sit in isolation, listen to soft music, maybe melody counts, and you think about your past, your experiences, where actually you've really performed well, and think about your dream, and then actually where CAT figures in it. If it figures as a very important pivot, you will enjoy the process. If it doesn't figure, well, doesn't matter. You may not do well, but you don't want it to go that well, simple. You are actually looking at plan B as plan A. So CAT may be plan B, right? So don't feel sorry about it. Then don't say that my exam did not go well. This was not plan A. Had it been plan A, you would have really, really strived hard to perform very well. That's very important. Yeah. Now, having said that, there are certain basic hygiene factors that one needs to really take into consideration before 48 hours. Yeah. One of the biggest phenomenon in today's environment is to really try and keep yourself mentally, physically, and spiritually strong. Easier said than done. A lot of people say, what's the big deal? I've read about it, and I'm sure this is how it counts. Well, the anxiety level really catches up, and you're starved of sleep. And when you're starved of sleep, you're actually losing on to one of the biggest change agents which can really make it count in life. And that is energy level. Yes, I am talking about something which really can reflect what possibly ordinary people can do and can perform in the most extraordinary fashion if they have the energy level. So some people will say, what's the big deal? I have the energy, right? Well, energy is to be sustained. Energy is to be preserved, right? All you've got to do is you've got to really elevate, and next level up energy is what you need to really perform. So have a lot of liquids, have good diet, don't go out. I mean, of course, these are not times where you can venture out. All the efforts of so many months, you don't want it to go down the drain. So be at home, play safe, and make sure that you actually consume and conserve your energy. Why do I say so? Because a lot of people do not have the stamina and endurance to sustain that 2.5 hours or 3 hours pressure on that day. Those 3 hours really count a lot. And what happens in exams like these, as and when the momentum actually goes, or the time, or the let's say the clock ticks, our energy level tends to go down. A lot of people are very euphoric. First 15 minutes, they are gung-ho. They've done very well. And as and when the time passes by, their energy level starts going down. Even if they are talented, by the time they come to the last section, they have consumed almost 90% of their energy. And last section is quantitative section, right? And you've got to really have that kind of energy left. And the matter gets worse if you are poor at mathematics, because it plays in your mind that my maths is not good, my maths is not good. Well, it's a national level problem, so don't worry about it. The entire country, almost the entire country suffers from this syndrome called poor in mathematics. So relax. But your energy level is really important. You know, when you start feeling the energy, when you start believing that I can do it, you know, seemingly impossible questions look possible. You actually start figuring out the options. You start using a different strategy altogether. You know, suddenly you realize that, oh, eliminating option is working for me. I'm not good at maths, but this is working for me. 2 questions, 3 questions, and you suddenly start spotting those questions. You know, it's like 2 individuals standing on rooftop, and it's a green, lush green ambience, and one of them doesn't get to spot even a single bird chirping, and the other person starts spotting 20 types of varieties of birds, and that person is amazingly in a state of bliss. And he actually asks the other person, I mean, are you enjoying these birds chirping? And the other person says, I don't see birds. Well, because you don't want to spot those birds, they don't really appear to you. It's exactly the same way. So somebody will come out and say, the paper was okay or moderately tough. I mean, I didn't find it too difficult. And I found questions which were done in the class, I found similar to those questions. And then you'll say, I could not see those questions. मैंने तो देखे ही नहीं वो questions. And then you start reanalyzing the paper, and then you realize, oh, 8, 9 questions could have been done. And you were so pressurized and you were so drained in terms of this occasion that you could not see those. And that is what happens. That's why the moment the teacher in the class starts explaining the question, you start believing, oh, it was so simple, I could have done. And smart people ask a very smart question to the teacher. Sir, that's true. You explained it very well to me, and I actually unlocked, I decoded. But can I do it in the exam? And then the examiner will possibly ask you to change your mindset, and you see how things change. It's as simple as that, right? So it's very important for you to really look at it from that perspective. Yeah. So what do you do in next 48 hours apart from that? These are very, very important aspects. Very, very important game-changing phenomenon. If you are good at it, I believe you've done a great job. You're doing a great job. Nothing can stop you. Yeah. Well, in terms of technicalities, in terms of academia, because people might say that, okay, this is true, this is good, but what about my academics? Because I have worked a lot on my maths, my data interpretation, my language. What do? Don't I do anything in 48 hours which can really keep me in the groove? Well, I'm not one of those who will say that don't do anything for 48 hours and just get away or possibly remove all. No, not like that. It's very important for you to really be in sync. Yeah. So what do I do? Or what does an individual do in terms of those 48 hours? First thing I would say, 2 important dimensions. Make sure that your last few performances do not become a yardstick for you to perform in CAT exam. Yeah, a lot of people tend to really possibly look at an elusive number or a percentile, and in the last test they actually achieve that. Well, don't get misquoted or don't judge yourself like that. Well, this was just one of the odd tests, right? So don't be euphoric about it. The other aspect is you perform very badly in the last test. And that test really drains you so much that you can't believe that this was your last performance. So I remember one of my students, ex-students, who got 100 percentile. And 7 days prior to CAT exam, he wrote this mock test at my center. And I actually, and his performance was not up to the mark for sure. He's phenomenal at mathematics, but his scores were not good. So I actually called him in my room and I said, what happened? You know, I was a fledgling, I was raring to go. I knew this guy is very talented, so I was slightly curious and anxious also. But you know, the moment I looked at him, he actually looked at me and he looked into my eyes and he says, Sir, कोई चिंता की बात नहीं है, मुझे बिल्कुल चिंता नहीं हो रही है, क्योंकि मुझे पता है कि मैंने क्या एक्सपेरिमेंट किया था और कहाँ मेरे से गलती हुई. And that was, you know, the moment where I realized that, look, this gentleman, you know, he's so calm, so cool, he's so assured about his performance. So, and he made it count on that day. 100 percentile. You know, he cracked it out and out. Because, and he has kept that momentum and that attitude in life. So that's why these aptitude tests are a vital reflection of your personality. Please remember, if you are not organized as an individual, CAT day performance will reflect that. Your unorganized approach will be reflected. Yeah, if you're very impulsive by nature, it will reflect on that day. If you do not really legitimately, or if you're not intent listener, or if you're not a very keen observer, on that day it will reflect very badly. You know, you will possibly mark very quickly, impulsively, you will not look at all the options, you will not read instructions very carefully, and all these pearls of wisdom which your teachers talk about, they go in vain. And you question yourself, why I could not do it? Well, because you're not changing your personality. So please reflect as to what kind of person you are and play accordingly. If you're a very impulsive person, if you're not a very intent observer, give extra time to yourself and tell yourself, you know, mentally, you know, consciously, because then only it will be in your subconscious that, look, you know, don't jump the gun. You've wasted so many occasions because of that. So time has come where you have to really make it a rule. Read options twice. Read instructions twice, because your personality is like that. There are a lot of people who don't have to do that. So there is no customized solution in terms of following do's and don'ts. If you're somebody who, in your opinion, doesn't really need to really read instructions again, you're very cool and calm, be like that, then this instruction doesn't apply to you. So different individuals have different approach towards the exam. Destiny is going to be really carved accordingly. So nothing can be changed. But having said that, you need to really try and identify your real person and then go accordingly and perform accordingly. There is so much for you out of this exam that you might end up getting 15 odd calls and you might end up reaching where you wish to be. That's important, yeah? So what do you do in terms of academia? Don't take tests. Don't take a full-length test for sure. Don't take too many sectional tests. Maybe one sectional test of language, possibly 30 minutes, 35 minutes, just to really be in the groove. That too in that time zone where you're going to actually, you know, write your CAT exam, or when you're going to write your CAT exam. It does work, because you feel, you mentally, you tell yourself, look, I wrote one more test, but don't bother about the score. You wrote the test, and you actually spent 30, 40 minutes, that is what is more important. Don't bother about score, because scores might be very, very deceptive. So don't bother about it, right? But write the test. Write one sectional test, or maybe to one language, one maths, it could work. If you don't want to, forget about it. So then what do you do? Well, I believe by this time you would have really made question bank in every section, where you know that these are very strategic, very critical, you know, questions, so that you can actually go through those questions. Just go through those questions. Past papers are very important. Every teacher must have really communicated this to you. So follow that by heart. You know, past 5-6 years, you know, questions really can, you know, I always believe that when CAT committee actually decides to go for certain kind of paper in a particular year, that's reflection of how the industry is evolving, what kind of leadership and managerial talent they are looking at, right? And that's how they structure the paper. So when I actually analyze or revise past papers, I don't look at questions only. I look at the way the questions have been structured. And I actually try and find a pattern in that. And much to my surprise, I realize that there is a pattern. So, for example, in mathematics, a lot of people, we all know that if the takeoff is not good, culmination sometimes or most of the time is not good. So the takeoff is not good. First 10 questions, 4 or 5 questions you pick up, and they are very heavy loaded questions, and you really feel that you are reaching nowhere, and your fear gets manifested. Oh, I knew that maths is my bugbear, you know, maths is my nemesis, and this is getting manifested. And you just give up. But smart souls don't give up there. They know the examiner has got something for them as well, because CAT is a very, very heterogeneous exam, let me tell you. It allows people from all walks of life to be there at the IIMs. Girls, boys, humanity, non-humanity, you know, defense, doctors, veterinarians, I mean, you name any profession, lawyers, you'll find there. Now, there has to be a pattern, right? So, maybe last 15 questions are such that you can actually find 8-9 questions very easily, but you don't reach there. So, I always tell my students, make sure that every question is read by you. Your reading speed counts a lot. A lot of people are very myopic. They feel that reading comprehension gets over when you solve reading comprehension section. That's wrong. Reading comprehension is a backbone for even maths and DI student. If your reading is not good, you will take time to solve a DI question, data interpretation question. And questions are not going to be one-liner or two-liners. Let me tell you, they are going to be long questions. There is going to be a story in questions because you're not doing maths, you're solving problems, real-time problems. And people who don't like to read, they will not be able to solve maths questions for sure. Data interpretation, they cannot interpret the data unless they actually read the story or they read the pattern. So reading really makes a big difference. So my advice to you people, because this is the best way you can actually strive for, optimizing these 48 hours. Read. Now read what? You don't read those bulky, thick novels, right? If you read, great. But if you don't like to, hang on. Be strategic in that. What you do is, you try and carve out certain themes which are very, very relevant and contemporary in today's environment. For example, if I am going for an exam like this, I would make sure that I read about cryptocurrency, about blockchain, because that's the order, right? That's what is happening in the world. And why not? You might have a passage on that. Yeah. If I'm going to write CAT exam this year, I'm going to read a lot about valuations of organizations, startups, how the game changes in today's environment, how relevant has incubation become, and how myopic certain entrepreneurs are. I will read about it for sure. I'm not going to stop reading about farm bill. One of the most debated farm bills, and suddenly the government took a U-turn. So what was there in that? I will go in intricacies and nitty-gritties. I'll read about terrorism. Yeah, I'll read about LGBT community and their acceptance or their denial. Yeah, I'll read about geopolitical strategic tools. Yeah, I'll read about technology and disruptive technologies. I'll read about culture and civilization. I'll read about religion. Because this is what is in, I'll read about environment, sustainable development, ecological disaster. I'll read about sports extravaganza. Because this is what really is important. And you never know, you might have a passage or two from what you're reading. Make sure, or rather I would say using my own experience in last so many years, that there may be a passage on culture, there may be a passage on cross-cultural evolution, religion, economies, foreign policies, agriculture, worldwide issues which are endemics. These are phenomena that I'll strive to read. So in 48 hours, read articles, maybe read online. But it's very important that you really make it count. So read. Read till the end. I would say read till the end. You can read even one night before CAT exam. Nothing stops you. Enjoy your reading. Because it really gives you that momentum that you're missing in life. So read a lot. Yeah? And then take care of other basic essentials. Make sure that you are able to actually visualize or possibly, find out the location where your examination center is. You can, if you get a chance to go there and feel the place, it's important. Yeah? Make sure that basic essentials are kept. All your documents are there with you, right? And make sure that you actually have understood that it's how vital it is for you to reach early, reach on time. And I'm sure these are basic things, but sometimes, if it's nightmarish, it goes haywire like this only. So take care of those essentials. That's important. That's something which is prior to the exam. I somehow feel energized and charged up when I look at certain, when I do something which I like doing the most. Like I like to watch sports. I like to play. So I won't recommend playing, but I would recommend watching. Yeah, maybe sports or maybe a good movie, a movie which really is close to you, or songs or melodious songs which are really close to you. Like I like few old Hindi songs, so I really enjoy those. They really give me that momentum. So do that. You really will enjoy. You'll be in rhythm. Talk to people who really make you feel light. Don't talk to people who possibly who remind you of your weaknesses or possibly your nemesis or your your Achilles heel. Don't do that. Talk to because these people know they will motivate you a lot. They will push you to achieve, and that's what matters the most. If you are driven by a religion, if you are driven by meditation, pranayam, great. I mean, that's the best thing that you can do. If you are driven by that, but don't do it today only because somebody is asking you to. Nothing will happen. Your pranayam could be reading possibly. Your yoga could be possibly, watching. Your yoga could be talking to your friend. So make sure that it really happens to you and you enjoy. That's prior to exam. And I believe when I was chasing something which was very, very important to me, I would write wherever I would go, that this is your destiny, that's your dream. And I would really internalize myself without taking undue pressure. Why the pressure is there? Because we think this is our destiny. I know so many people who actually write CAT exam, make it to IIMs, and suddenly the bubble is burst. पता नहीं क्या हो जाता है उनको, उसके बाद वो परफॉर्मेंस ही नहीं आती है आईएम में जाके. ऐसा लगता है कि उनकी जिंदगी की जो सोच थी वो सिर्फ आईएम में जाने तक के लिए थी. और कई लोगों को मैंने देखा है कि जो आईएम में जाना तो सिर्फ एक पहली सीढ़ी थी, उसके बाद की जो जर्नी है वो बिल्कुल डिफरेंट है उनकी, वो अलग ही हो जाते हैं वो, क्योंकि उन्होंने सिर्फ आईएम में जाने के लिए काम नहीं किया. दे वर्क फॉर गोइंग बियॉन्ड द आईएम, बियॉन्ड टॉप कॉलेजेस, बियॉन्ड मैनेजमेंट कॉलेजेस. मैं बार बार ये हाफ करता हूँ बिकॉज इससे रिलेटेड है कई सारी चीजें जो आप करने वाले हैं. So that's prior to CAT exam. Nothing more, nothing less. Rest is up to you. If you feel that there are strong areas and weak areas, my advice is focus on your seemingly strong areas. Weak areas cannot be made strong in 48 hours. What's the big deal in really focusing on weaknesses? Focus on strength. If you match your strength, make sure it counts on that day. Yeah, if language is your strength, make sure you don't leave any stone untouched. But a lot of people do otherwise. They focus only on weak areas. Oh, my maths is poor. Let me do this chapter, this chapter, this chapter. सारे chapter कर रहे हैं मुझे. Can't do that. If there are 22 chapters, do 11 chapters only, no. Because you can't do all chapters. When you do all chapters, it will be like a khichdi. So you'll try and solve every question because you've done that chapter. Now, if I have not done probability, I'm not going to solve it. I may read, and if I can do it from option, I will still do. But otherwise, I'm very sure I'm not touching it. So in my second go, maybe I'll do. So it's very important for you to really focus on these nuances. That's prior to CAT. On the day of exam, as I told you, reach early and relax and make sure that you allow your concentration level to be very high on that day. Yeah? And you are energetic. And you keep the energy level and the rush going in till the end. Till the end. The battle is not done till it is done. Absolutely, the color of the CAT will definitely change. Every year it does change. Change will be cosmetic. Absorb it and then the real CAT will come out. It's the same. बदला ही नहीं है CAT कुछ भी. 20 साल से बिल्कुल cosmetic है. Number of questions, expected cutoffs. The worst question that you can ask somebody is, what is going to be the cutoff? And then there are Gyanis. There are so many Gyanis who will tell you, this is the expected cutoff. This is the expected percentile. Come on, it's a relative exam. You need to know, okay, how do you realize that the exam is tougher than what you believe it could be? When you know that when you're playing to your strength, and let's say my strength is reading comprehension, if there are going to be 5 passages, and I normally solve 4 passages in given time limit, on that day I'm not even reaching beyond 3, then I should not try and reach for the 4th one because I am good at reading comprehension. And if I'm solving 3 only, that means it's a tough paper, it's a tough section, others will also find it tough. And I minimize my expectation by that percentage. That's wisdom. A lot of people don't do it. They have to solve the 4th one because वो पहले करा है इतना, तो मेरा score कैसे आएगा? ये सोच के वो 4th attempt करते हैं. And thereby eliminating any chance that existed till the time they were solving 3 passages only. And that is what happens in maths also. So please remember, your so-called strength can be your biggest weakness on that day. Don't let that happen. Just absorb it. Absorb this idea and see on that day, less is more and more is less. People who attempt less questions in CAT, they end up getting high percentile. And because their accuracy level is very high. So it's very important for you to absorb this and write the exam. So there are 3 sections, and for every section there's a time limit that's given to you. And you start your paper, all the basics are taken care of, and then first section is language, then DI, and then mathematics, quantitative aptitude. Language section, there are certain thumb rules. Now I don't want to change the way you look at the exam, but I would urge you people to focus on the fact that you gain momentum when you actually solve verbal ability first. Because it's a new place, new horizon. If you start reading comprehension, you might possibly take time to absorb and concentrate. So it's better that you start with verbal ability, which are going to be 7 to 8 questions. You might do 3, 4 questions and you get that kick, and then you move to RC. prior to that, micro strategy is you need to really know that in your mind that how many minutes will you spend on reading comprehension, how many minutes you will spend on verbal ability, and stick to that time limit. One more thumb rule, by this time, you also know, or you should be knowing by this time, how much time you spend on a given passage, given the toughness as constant, and how much minutes or how many minutes on a question. So what happens is a lot of people actually start brooding over a question for more than what they normally are expected to. And they end up giving more time. So one question which would require 1 minute, they would end up spending 4, 5, 6 minutes, thereby consuming extra 5 minutes and then spoiling their entire third section. Or their entire section for that matter, because time limit is fixed. So in that section, you start actually building that anxiety. So stick to the time limit, leave it if you don't really get that answer in that time frame. Leave that question. Learn the art of leaving. In cricket you must have seen, people who are good at leaving the ball outside off stump or around the off stump, they are good, they are the best players, rather than people who know how to play that. It's same, in CAT exam also. You learn the art of leaving questions and you are there. You arrived. It's as simple as that, right? So start with verbal ability and then focus on reading comprehension, yeah? Now, every CAT exam, there are MCQs and there are non-MCQs, right? Non-MCQs questions are very big temptation to a lot of people because apparently negative marking is a big differentiator. So what happens, students are tempted to go for non-MCQ questions, TETA type question, type in the answer type question. My advice is take these questions with a pinch of salt. You've got to be really meant for solving those questions. If you're good at it, if you're really confident about it, then you take those questions and don't try and possibly go all out or all guns blazing for these questions. Be very, very cautious and pick those questions where you're completely sure, because the opportunity cost of really spending more time is very high, because examiner knows that you're going to spend more time on those questions, thereby losing momentum on multiple choice questions. So it's your pick. Every section will have 6 to 7 TETA type question. So it's better that you really try and take your pick and you also focus on the timing. That's important. Yeah. So verbal ability might have para formation, might have grammatical correction, or might have an absolutely new pattern. So you've got to take it with a pinch of salt. But I believe that you practice enough so you can really handle it. As far as reading comprehension is concerned, there are different approaches that people have. I don't want to change your approach, but all that I must tell you is that victory is going to come to people who pick up the right passage. If you pick up the wrong passage, it's like there is no coming back. You can't come back, right? So it's better that you really spend few extra seconds on choosing the right passage. How do you pick up the passage? Well, you must have learned that. You possibly, focus on the theme. Let's say initial couple of paragraphs. So you are actually reading 2-3 lines and then second paragraph. Don't be euphoric by looking at first line. I remember that CAT which I wrote, I looked at the first line and I looked at WTO and I thought this is the passage that I know. And I started solving and then I realized it was not on WTO only, it was on trade related intellectual property rights and then agriculture and whatnot. It ended up as a tough passage for me. And I realized that it was wrong on my part, to really judge a passage by first line. So I spent more time and in next year, and the result was very positive. So 2-3 lines every paragraph, and then possibly sink in and then solve. And then read in one shot and focus only on one phenomenon. What's the central idea? What's the central message of the passage? You need to be good at the art of skimming and skipping for sure. Nobody can teach you in 48 hours, but that's something which you should be good at. And then you actually eliminate the options, and then it works well. You may not solve all questions, forget about it. Some people might say solve every question. You may not. You might do possibly out of 5 questions, 4 only. That's okay. But don't be tempted to solve something which you can't, right? That's the language section for you. And then you focus on the data interpretation and logical reasoning part. Well, the age-old wisdom clearly says that 2 sections are the big game changers. Reading comprehension and data interpretation and logical reasoning section. For so many years I've seen these are 2 game-changing sections. So find out your pick. LR is your forte, focus on that. DI is your forte, focus on choosing the right kind of section. Right question. Ask anybody who's made it to IIMs or top college, they'll say that choosing right set is very critical. How do you do that? Well, all your practice will possibly reflect on that day. So focus on that. And then make sure that you follow thumb rule. If first 3 minutes of taking a type of question, you're not reaching anywhere, leave it and pick up the next one. A lot of people don't get to leave because they think 3 minutes are over. Now what do I do? I have already spent 3 minutes. Let me spend 4 or 5 minutes more and solve it. That's a big suicide that you are actually getting into. You can leave the question. You can focus on something else. That's important, right? You can do it in two shots. One shot, you actually focus on something which is coming very naturally to you. And second shot, you can possibly, take your time and solve. But no gambling out here. And finally, last but not the least, mathematics. Common bugbear for a lot of people and a big trouble for so many people who are not from maths background. I would say even troublesome for people who are from maths background. Because it's not maths that you're solving, it's a problem solving section, right? You're solving problem as a future leader and future manager. So you find out your own niche. Let me tell you, the simple advice that I have is, don't be trapped by the examiner. The trap that has been set for you. Go till the last question. Find out momentum on every page. You'll have 2-3 questions out of 5-6 questions. And ideally, first 2 questions can be a speed breaker. So move out of it and you have a comfort zone. So find out your comfort zone and then eliminate the option, use your strategy, whatever you can do, and solve math section. Let me tell you, out of 24 or 22 odd questions, whatever number of questions that we may see on that day, even if you're a non-math student, 7-8 right questions can be a very good percentile position for you. So don't really try and over attempt. Even those who are good at maths, 15 odd questions can be a very big game changer for you, right? More important is to really be at home and be driven by absolute accuracy level. That is what matters the most, right? So when you're done with these 3 sections and you've optimized the entire thing, revise if you get a chance to, go back to the question that you actually marked to read and then solve it. And that's how the paper actually will get manifested on that day. 70 odd questions. How many questions? Thumb rules are there. I don't know. I don't want to speculate and get into that because that's a big chain. And I'll leave it to experts who possibly will have their own analysis post-exam. And that may be correct also. But then that's post-exam. Pre-exam, anything or everything is speculation only. I don't want to get into it. Or your hard work goes down the drain. I don't want to see that. But let me tell you, every individual who's writing CAT is a potential candidate for them to crack this. You are going to be there, it counts a lot. So questions like my 10% were not up to the mark. I goofed up my graduation. My biodata or my scorecard is like a roller coaster ride. Forget about it. That's your past. Look at the future and carve a niche for yourself. The destiny is really there for you. This is what you really strived and struggled for. I'm not from a top college. So what? There are a lot of people who made it to these to top or to zenith of their career. They were not from the best of the best colleges. Yeah, it's about the skills that you have. That is what matters a lot, right? And finally, after the exam, everything is over, right? Exam gets over and the euphoria sets in. You're happy, ecstatic. Well, performers don't look at life like that. They start looking at the next phase of life. And next phase happens to be the most enjoyable phase of the entire preparation, let me tell you. I, as a personality trainer, I must tell you, this is the most enjoyable experience. One of the most enjoyable experiences of life. Next 2-3 months after CAT will be phenomenal because you are going to prepare yourself for personality assessment. And that is where you will learn the nuances of life. How do you come across as an individual? Does talent alone matter or something else matters? Do you have the X factor? Can you cultivate that? How do you create your portfolio profile? How do you come across as an individual or vis-a-vis people in group? What's it like for you to perform in front of so many people? How do you structure your thoughts? How do you write? How do you read? How do you comprehend? How do you speak? Your tonality, your language, everything matters, And the golden rule changes. Till now, you are actually going to be judged by number of questions you've done or how many percentages or what percentage do you get, right? But after that, you're not going to be judged by how many times you speak. You're going to be judged by the quality of speech that you actually reflect in terms of the group and in terms of professors who are going to be there. Yes, I'm talking about personality assessment stage and other mock exams. You are going to be actually setting the tone for next big exams. XAT, Xavier Aptitude Tests, Narsi Monji, SNAP, you have myriad number of exams to choose from. TIS, Tata Institute of Social, I mean, you go for exams and simultaneously start thinking about making it to these places. And the next stage is group discussion and personal interview. Let me tell you, you cannot convert your call in 10 days. It's a lifetime evolutionary process. So you start reading newspaper. You start looking at your profile. You start looking at what you're good at, what you're not good at. You start looking at your language skills. And you start believing that you're going to get a call. So you start preparing for the next stage. Yes, enjoy that moment. A lot of people will say, when I get calls, then only I'll prepare, right? Otherwise, why should I prepare? Well, assuming that you get a call and you're not prepared, you're going to give up onto the biggest opportunity of life. And moreover, skills and habits that you're going to actually inculcate after the written part gets over are going to be lifetime skills and experiences. वो ऐसी आदतें हैं जो जिंदगी भर चलेंगी. मेरे जितने भी स्टूडेंट्स हैं, मैंने इतने सालों में जितने भी बच्चों को पढ़ाया है, I was fortunate that I got to teach the best of the best talent. And I got to teach most humble people also. I got to teach, people who were seekers. And I'm in touch with most of them. They all tell me that, the biggest change took place once they actually set the tone for preparing for personality assessment. Their language changed completely, their orientation changed, their reading habits changed. They read what normally they wouldn't read, and they develop this element of curiosity. So, for example, the Paytm IPO failed. You need to ask yourself, why did it fail? And you need to really go to the genesis of it. Farm bill, one of the most overhyped bill, and suddenly the leader of the country actually decides to call it off. We've got to really try and go to the root of the problem and understand and connect the dots. Once you do it, you will see how you change yourself. So I'm actually wishing you good luck for not only for CAT exam, but for life, for next 6 months. And I'm looking at transforming your entire orientation. This was my way of looking at the entire journey. I'm sure there are so many of you who really know a lot. All I can say that knowledge is power, but humility is the biggest weapon that you can acquire in life. Once you have that, nothing can stop you. That's leadership in contemporary scenario. We've been able to actually add value. Thank you so much for being with me in last 1 hour. I wish you all good luck, enjoy, and spread the positivity and happiness, and take care of yourself, right? And remember, this is not the last battle that you're actually that you're fighting. It's just a beginning. Battles are always won in the mind. So in your mind, you win this battle. You're going to do well in life. Thank you so much. Take care. All the best. Take care. Bye bye.